Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Now today we're going to check out a trap metal EP from great friend of the channel, Patrick McElvery, aka, and I'm going to say his name for the first time correctly on the channel, Seethe. For some reason, every time I've had this guy on the channel, which has been a number of times now, I've called him Seethe. And it's weird because I know it's wrong, my brain tells me it's wrong, but sometimes when I'm doing this show, because I don't script it or anything like that, I'm just doing it in the moment. My mouth is saying stuff and my brain's playing catch up. And I've said Seethe in the past and my brain's gone, no, it's Seethe. What are you saying? But it's too late, too far into the video at that point. So man, there you go. That's what happens. I spoke about this guy in the end of year roundup with a one-man band show that I did, because this guy does all this stuff himself, although he does get producers and stuff as well on board. But he's a one-man band. It's all his own ideas. And yeah, very, very cool. We checked him out a bunch of times last year, and he makes very, very heavy digital, electronic, loud trap music. I've spoke about it a lot. I'm not going to go on about it much, but it's something that you can get on board with if you like heavy music. You know, it's not metal as in guitar music and drums and stuff like that. It's trappy, but it's very loud. It's very heavy. I can get on board with it. The EP, which is a 3-track EP we're going to check out today, it's just over 10 minutes long. It's called Nihilist meet Optimist, Optimist meet Nihilist. So it's 3 tracks, which is Blank and Pale, House of Glass, and Disappear. I think we're just going to roll through it today and check it out. Here we go. Cool. What I like about the mix on this one, it's got a real good 3D sound to it. Oh, that wasn't the end of the track, apparently. Cool. I'm going to quickly stop it there because I do want to talk about it now. This has got a really nice mix to it in the way that it's very 3D. Especially when you're wearing headphones like this, it's all the sounds are coming across your ears, spreading across and stuff, the sounds that are in front of you as well sound like they're in different places and coming at you from different angles. So it's got a very 3D sound to the mix, which is very nice. It's with our friend Gus Wallner, who's done the mix on this as well. Those guys like to work together, and they do a great job together because Gus, he pumps it up nice and loud, which is needed for this kind of music to give it the heaviness, give it the metal vibe, you know, without being metal. It can still have the characteristics of metal just by being loud and oppressive and aggressive with sounds in that way. But all those extra glitchy sounds and stuff like that coming in and spreading across your ears really gives it a 3D sound. Very, very cool. Let's check out the next tracks. Just remind us, House of Glass.
Darkness, darkness, darkness.
Sounds good. Cool.
Darkness, darkness.
So this one is moving more into dubstep, and I don't mean dubstep like kind of womp 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 type dubstep. More, I'm thinking kind of early 2000s, where it was more dub, and you had that kind of dub influence really coming through in the music. You had some British artists, Vexed and stuff, you might have heard of, who had this kind of vibe and sound. I didn't really get a trap vibe from that one. It was more dub. I could just imagine a bunch of heads in a gig, kind of with their heads down, just dubbing out to this one. Very, very cool. Nice, creepy, atmospheric vibe to it. Again, which had that dubby vibe, you know. That early dark dub it had all these creepy sounds and kids and stuff coming in and out of the mix, just like that. That's what it reminded me of. It very cool. So yeah, nice sound to it.
darkness, darkness, darkness.
Take a second and get this out. It's been a while, and now way out. Breathing in and breathing out. Flowering out, flowering out, flowering out. I tried to take your breath and count the clouds. Covering running, crying, we're coming in out. Combined ways and for no reason.
Nice dark, depressive vibe to this one.
Fairy tale has a way of getting into your head, even before you hear it. Somehow you just know it. And it always went like this.
Really get lost in the sound of this one. It's not just a song, it's not just a normal track with a verse and a chorus. It's kind of like the music we had on yesterday, where it's more set in a vibe, set in a tone, set in a kind of a background vibe, rather than just being, oh, you know, here's a riff, here's a riff, here's a verse, here's a chorus type stuff. Very, very nice. You could have that one on you know, it's kind of like movie music is the way I think about it in that way. And I love to write that stuff myself, where it's, you don't write it to just write a verse and a chorus. It's a movement, you know, it's a piece of art. It's more a piece of art in that way, where you're trying to create a vibe and move the listener up and down and stuff like that, and bring in those creepy vibes, depressive vibes. I like the depressive edge on this one a lot, and I think the whole album, or EP I should say, you know, had that creepy, dark, depressive vibe to it. Very, very cool. If I had to pick a favourite, I would say the middle track, because I'd really like the dub. And I would say, if you don't know Vexed, go and check out Vexed from the early 2000s. Who were doing dark dubstep before it was kind of the cheesy Skrillex type dubstep that you might be thinking of. It was really dark and dubby and had a cool dark vibe to it, and they brought in all those weird synthy sounds and samples and stuff over the top in a similar way. So yeah, reminded me of that. I used to love that stuff, so that was probably my favourite of this one. The only thing I'm going to mention, and this is more of a tip to Gus, or not a tip, but just something to watch out for when he's doing this kind of music. They're obviously chopping and cutting up samples and stuff within the DAW to make this music, and there were just a couple of bits where there was clicks at the start of the sample, and most people, I'm sure, aren't going to even notice that, and unless you were wearing headphones or something like that, you wouldn't even notice anyway. But for someone like me who really puts their ear to this stuff and is a mixer as well, you know, that really stood out to me. Well, not really stood out, but my ear caught onto every click. And that's just something you got to watch out for. You just got to, you know, make sure that you're not cutting straight into sound. What my DAW does nicely is there's an option in the options now where for every kind of sample that you've got, it cuts the volume at either end very, very slightly, and that means you're never cutting straight into sound, and you never get those clicks at the start, at the end of a sample. So just watch out for that, because that's a kind of very minor refining tip that if someone's putting their ear to it, they'll hear those clicks because it just comes straight through the mix, and it's quite jarring. So I would just watch out for that. But other than that, great mix, great sounds in this as well. I really like the music of this as well as the vocal. You know, Patrick does a great job with the vocal of weaving in with the sound, and using his voice in the way that it should. It brings in that new metal vibe to it and a depressive, emotional vibe to it as well. Does a great job. But I really like the sounds that he's working with as well in this stuff. Those cool bass lines sound great. I like the higher, glitchy, more atmospheric sounds. I like all the samples that they brought into this as well, which I love dumping in my own music. I just think when you bring in a cool sample of someone talking or a clip off the TV or something, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as what they're saying has got a vibe to it as well, man, it just piles onto your music straight away. I really, really enjoy it. Some people hate it, but I just think it's great. So I like what they did with that in this as well. And yeah, I think they did a great job of creating more of a kind of mood music piece rather than just tracks. You know, these aren't trap tracks, trap metal tracks. They're pieces of music that set more of a vibe, set more of a tone, and it's a different way to approach music. Very, very cool. Hope you've enjoyed that today, guys. What day is it today? Thursday, I think it is. We got some cool bands coming up tomorrow. I think we got some heavy metal for you tomorrow. We had some priority subs coming over the Christmas period with that stuff, so we got that. So yeah, hope you're enjoying the week. We'll see you around, guys. Bye.